Today, as we continue our series on Can You Relate, like I shared yesterday, I'd like to take 2 days to look at Jonathan, the oldest son of King Saul. And as I shared yesterday, I think Jonathan is worth spending some time contemplating his life because he's a guy who got many things right. He was courageous, a courageous warrior and fearless in battle, not because he trusted in his own warrior skills, but he was confident in the God of Israel who fought for him and with him and through him, you might say. And he was faithful and loyal, humble, and a man of great integrity. You think about it, that's the kind of guy you'd want to be king, right? And we talked yesterday about how in his humility, he understood and accepted that God had chosen David, his friend, to be king, not him. It was his rightful place as the successor to Saul. Jonathan should have been in line, but he understood through his faith, through his prayers, he understood that God had given the throne to David, and he wasn't going to get in the way of that. And yet you look at Jonathan's faithfulness to his father right up to the end, standing with him and dying with him in battle. Today we're going to look at Jonathan's relationship with David. And I'm going to start in 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1. And this is the way we're introduced to him. This is right after David has killed Goliath. And you can imagine that Saul and his son Jonathan were part of the Israelite army watching this battle between Goliath the giant and this boy David. And it's really from that day on that David and Jonathan became friends. Here's what it says, 1 Samuel 18. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. You think about that. Jonathan gives David the gift of love, the gift of himself, loves him even as he loves himself. And then you find out in the very next chapter in 1 Samuel 19 that Saul, who had sent David into battle against Goliath, all of a sudden Saul is jealous of David, threatened by him, and is starting to threaten to kill him. So this is what happens. Chapter 19, verse 1. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, "My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I will speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done benefited you greatly. He took the life of this in his hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory for all Israel, and you were glad. Why then do you wrong an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason?" Saul listened to Jonathan and took this oath, "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." You think about this, and we talked about it yesterday, in Jonathan's relationship with his father Saul and his friendship with David. He was faithful and he honored his father. He reasoned with his father, trying to get his father to do what is right. But then if you read in the very next chapter, Saul's pride, his jealousy, his envy, he's back at it. And so David flees from Saul. And in verse 1 it says, then David fled from Naioth at Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me?" "Never," Jonathan replied. "You are not going to die. Look, my father doesn't do anything, great or small, without letting me know. Why would he hide this from me? It isn't so." But David took an oath and said, "Your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes, and he has said to himself, 'Jonathan must not know this, or he will be grieved.' Yet as surely as the Lord lives and as you live, there is only a step between me and death." Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it for you." Talk about a faithful friend. You know, here Jonathan knows his father swore an oath that he wouldn't harm David. And so on one hand, he's sticking up for his dad, but David pleads with him and he says, "Jonathan, I'm telling you the truth. He wants to kill me." And Jonathan's response, "Ask me. Whatever you want me to do for you, I'll do it." And sure enough, as the story progresses, he finds out that his dad does indeed intend to kill to kill David, and even, in his anger tries to kill Jonathan as well. And that's perhaps maybe the most clear time where Jonathan is confronted with his dad's madness and the depths of his dad's sin. But that loyalty to David, and that oneness of spirit with him. I want to ask you, do you have friends in your life like Jonathan? Someone who is close, someone that maybe you don't need to explain everything to because there's just a connection that's there. It's something I think if we don't have it, I think everybody longs for that type of friend. So here's the challenge, because not all of us have a friend like Jonathan in our life, someone that is faithful and loyal and loves us no matter what. But we can all be that friend to other people. And sometimes it's in the offering of friendship that we discover that we receive that type of friendship in return. I think of a few scripture passages from Proverbs 17, verse 17. "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." Proverbs 27:6. "Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses." And then some admonitions from the New Testament, from Romans 12, verse 10. "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." And finally, the last passage I'd share with you today is from Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 14. "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity." As you think about the call of those passages, the blessing and benefit of friendship, but also the challenge that we live our lives in such a way that we are offering to others, whether they deserve it or not, the type of integrity and the type of honor and respect and love and compassion that you see Jonathan and David sharing in their friendship. And I really believe that one of the keys to discovering that for our own lives is how well we are willing to offer that for someone else. So I want to ask you today, if you know that you've got a Jonathan in your life, you might want to just thank God for that gift of that friendship. And then it'd be a great opportunity to reach out to that friend and say, "Thank you for being that friend for me." And if you find that when you hear the story of David and Jonathan and the depth of their friendship, that there's an aching, longing in your heart, "Oh, I wish I just had a friend like that." Well, then I ask you, who in your life can you be that friend for? And I think in doing so, you may discover that you've got maybe more than one Jonathan in your life, as people respond to the grace of God at work through you as you offer friendship. So God bless you today. And again, I just invite you to just enjoy a time of reading about one of the good guys of the Bible, Jonathan.